We're going to create this scene.
What's the scene there?
Quite simple, quite easy. Moon floating over the ocean. Nothing too complicated. And actually you don't need that many objects. You need a plane to make it look like an ocean. You need the moon object and the background. For the image, we're going to go to our beloved Unsplash from Cerqueira. Not quite sure if I pronounce it right. Download this image or any kind of galaxy image, or if you don't want a galaxy, you can download anything else as a background. I transferred the JPEG into an HDR. If you don't know how to do that, I made a video about that. You can check that one out. Go to a new Blender scene. I can stop this one and import it an image as a plane. If for some reason you forgot it, like me again, to set the type to emit, just go into the shader editor, take the color, put it in the emission from the principal BSDF, and then you can crank up the strength to, for now let's go with 5. We can move it a little bit back. Let's go into the camera view. And with Blender Kit, I always use Blender Kit since you can download it, it's for free.
Nearly free of charge.
Everyone can use it. And I'm not going to model the whole moon here on the channel. So we're going to look for a moon from Ram Prasad Kochi Dilip Kumar. I'm going to import it, scale it up a little bit, and click the moon to go into the shade editor. I'm just going to change some things here. For example, I'm going to plug this one in to the emission. Then we're going to take a mix RGB. What was it called? Mix color. You can plug it into the emission, set it to darken, because I just want the bright parts to change the color. Yeah, you can go with anything you like. Multiply, for example. I want it to look a little bit more orange-like, reddish-like. Set the strength to 3. And we can also import an HDRI. Why am I typing HDRI? Anyway, let's go with a dark night scene. Let's go with night. Looks good enough. 2K. I'll take it. For the ocean, import a plane. Go into the modifier tab and select the ocean. You can make it as big as you want or as small as you want, depending how large the moon is. I'm just going to leave the ocean like that. And I want it to loop. And for it to loop, there's a cool trick actually. Go into the timeline, set it to a time you like. I'm just going to go with 152. I think it looks quite nice. It's not too quick, not too slow. With 24 frames per second.
Go ahead.
The Adolf transmission used 25 frames per second.
Go to frame 0, set the time to 1. Under waves, select the scale and set it to 0. And we're at frame 0, so we're going to keyframe both. We're going to keyframe the time and we're going to keyframe the scale. And I'm sorry, halfway through I realized I didn't turn on the screencast keys. Anyway, halfway through I'm turning on the screencast keys, so keyframe both by pressing I. Go to the end frame, and depending on how big or how small you want the waves to be or how long it should last, I'm not going to go with crazy amounts here. I'm just going to go with, let's say 3. Keyframe this, and the scale, let's set it to how 1 might be too big. Let's just try anyway. It's more calm motion. I think that's good. So let's go back to frame 0. Let's go to the modifier tab. Here under the arrow, you're going to click duplicate, and the geometry, we're going to displace the geometry. Now the cool trick is we're going to take the time, keyframe it right here, and we're going to take the scale to, it should have been set to 1. What did I take as a scale back there? Scale 1 times 3. So we're just going to take the same values for that to go to frame 0. So 3 for this, keyframe it, scale 1, keyframe it, go to the end frame, and now we're going to take this, multiply it by 2, keyframe that, go to the scale, set it to 0, keyframe this one. And if I didn't make a mistake, we should see it looping seamlessly. Yeah, that was basically it for the ocean. For the texture, you can take any kind of texture. You can take also paid add-ons, or go here with the free versions, river water. I prefer river water. Take the background, the emission, go into edit mode, scale it up, and you can play around with the settings, how you want it to look like. Let's go into here, just crop the render region. The easier part is now to keyframe the moon, so it's spinning around. There are probably easier ways to do that, but I'm just going to go ahead and brute force it. So let's go to the center. Let's move the camera a little bit above, so it's not touching the ocean so much. Bring this one down. Control A, set the location and rotation. So I just centered the moon. I moved down the ocean a little bit and scaled up the background so the moon can move freely. Let's take it a little bit forward, push it towards the camera, and move it by 1 on the z-axis. So G, Z, 1. Let's go maybe one more. Let's make it extreme for now. Okay, the rotation, we're going to leave it, keyframe it, location, rotation. Then we're going to go ahead by 38 frames, press G, set -1. Oh yeah, I want 2, so GZ -1 again. Rotate it on the z-axis by 90 degrees. Give it another keyframe, location, rotation, and we're going to move forward by twice the amount. Take the empty GZ -2. Okay, it's already touching the ocean. We're going to move that. Rotate it again by 90 degrees. RZ 90, keyframe, and again plus 38 frames. Go up, GZ +2, rotate it by 90 degrees. Keyframe it, location, rotation. One more time.
Just one more time.
GZ2, rotate it by 90 degrees. Keyframe it, location and rotation. And if I did everything correct, it should just spin around. Yes, I'm aware that there are better ways to do this, but I think for now this is just a simple way of showing how it's done. So yeah, it's going up and down, it's touching the ocean. So I'm going to move the ocean more down. Where is it touching? Maybe the ocean is a little bit too calm, but with that you can play around to your liking. Do you want it more calm? Do you want it more aggressive? I'm going to move the background a little bit further back so we can actually see more of the ocean. Scale it up back there, and then you can also adjust the camera, maybe move a little bit back, and that's pretty much it. You can render this one out as a PNG sequence, put it together, do some color grading in DaVinci Resolve, for example. It's also for free. And I just applied a lot to it. Then you can have something like this, pretty easy.